On the show today, we sit down with former NFL superstar Michael Vick to talk about life after football and the legacy he leaves behind.
Plus, you know her as a basketball analyst, but we bring you the story of the relationship between Kelly Deo and her Pro Bowl father.
It's all coming up on this edition of Game On. What is up? Welcome into Game On. What a show we have for you today. As always, he's Rhett McGibbon. I'm Matt Warner.
Yeah, normally this is where we would start talking about Liberty athletics, but this is not a normal show. Instead, let's talk Super Bowl, and specifically the Super Bowl MVP, Nick Foles.
Yeah, let's do just that. What a game he had, over 370 yards passing, leading the Eagles to the title. And here's a fun little fact you may not know about Nick Foles. He's actually a Liberty University online student. He's studying at Liberty School of Divinity. He says after his playing days are over, he wants to become a pastor. His playing days may continue a little longer, though, now after that.
Yeah, most definitely. It's just a great story. You might remember that a couple of weeks ago, we aired a story about Eagles chaplain Ted Winsley.
Yeah.
During that interview, which took place over the summer, we asked him what he wanted his legacy to be, and it just so happened it involved the big one.
All right, so this is gonna sound carnal, so I'm gonna give you the carnal and the spiritual. Let's get a Super Bowl, baby. So I'm believing God. Part of the legacy will be that I had an opportunity to minister to the guys that reached the natural goal or the natural dream for this city, and that was to experience a Super Bowl and to be able to say that they were men of God that were able to break the curse.
Well, he can say that now. Congrats to Pastor Ted and all the guys. And what was so impressive, I think, for many of us, seeing the aftermath of that Super Bowl win, seeing guys like Nick Foles, Zach Ertz, the head coach Doug Peterson, all giving glory to God and mentioning their faith and how important that is in their life in the aftermath of winning the biggest game, accomplishing the biggest thing they can in that field. That's
pretty neat. I saw an interview with Zach Ertz, and he was talking about just how over the past season, his faith in the Lord has made football easier for him, just more consistent. So the more consistent his life is with his relationship with Christ, the more consistent he's been on the gridiron.
Congrats to the Eagles. We were very much pro-Eagles around here, as most of America was, I think. Well, listen, from the gridiron to the hardwood, now Liberty Hoops entered Wednesday night's matchup at Charleston Southern, winners of 3 straight as they were trying to climb their way back into the conference race. Take a look. Flames had some success against the old Buccaneers here lately. There's old Superfan McCracken, the kid taking some punishment. Not a fan of him at Charleston Southern as he's getting hounded there. Ryan Kimwright would have a better night, though. He hit 4 threes, which were enough to give him Liberty's all-time career mark, passing the great Larry Blair. Lavelle Cabell also having a night as his 15 points put him over 900 in his career, just the 27th player in program history to do that. Now that's the good news. The bad news was the defense. Richie McKay saying afterwards that the Buccaneers got whatever shots they wanted, and they made most of them. CSU shooting 60% on the game as they pull away down the stretch for an 87-75 win, snapping the Flames' 3-game win streak in the process. So after Wednesday night's action, this is how things look in the Big South race. UNC Asheville, winners of 6 straight, sit atop the conference, followed by Winthrop, who's 1 game back. Radford has now dropped back-to-back games, putting them in 3rd. And then there you see Liberty in 7th. The Flames now the key for them, making sure they finish in the top 6 to avoid having to play in that first round with the Big South tourney.
Well, turning our attention to the Lady Flames, their play at home has been nothing short of impressive so far this season. Sitting with an 8-0 record at the Vines, LU was looking to remain perfect at home and get even closer to a regular season Big South title. Gardner Webb would be short-handed in this one. Savannah Steptovich would be out with a concussion, while leading scorer Tierra Huntsman would have a heavily wrapped left hand. Defense continues to be the recipe for success for Liberty. The Flames would hold the Runnin' Bulldogs to their lowest scoring output in conference play with 41 points. Kian Green would continue her dominating play as of late, garnering her 4th double-double of the season with 17 points and 10 rebounds. However, contributions from the bench would help out Liberty as well. Ola Makarat would record 10 points along with 7 rebounds. The native of Poland has amped up her play on the boards as of late, which has led to more minutes. The Flames would never look back in this game, winning 59-41, and head coach Kerry Green liked what he saw from his defense.
We're not perfect. We make some mistakes, but defensive effort and just taking some pride in accepting maybe our defense is our real identity. And very pleased with this effort. For a young team, if we can stay focused and continue to grow with that, a year down the road or a few more games down the road, if we buy in and sell out and make that our identity, then it is a special team, and they can have a special season with that.
Well, with that dub, the Flames moved to 10-1 in conference play and have a 2-game lead for first in the Big South. Radford just defeated UNC Asheville the other night to move into a 3-way tie for second in the Big South with the mentioned UNC Asheville Bulldogs and the High Point Panthers. Overall, it looks as if the Flames, barring a significant drop-off, are positioned well for a first-round bye come Big South tournament time.
Well, to baseball, where Flames outfielder DJ Artis has more accolades before the season even starts than most people will have in a career. Artis, already named Big South Preseason Player of the Year and Second-Team All-American by D1Baseball.com, has now been named to the All-America Second Team according to the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. Artis comes off a sophomore campaign where he led the nation in walks, was second in on-base percentage, all while hitting at a .359 clip. He and his Flames teammates will take the field for the first time in the 2018 season, February 16th against VCU.
Well, one of the best aspects of Liberty is the opportunity to hear from world-class speakers and world-class athletes in convocation. This past week, a man that at one point brought the state of Virginia together to pull for the Orange and Maroon visited Liberty's campus, former Hokie and NFL star Michael Vick.
When it comes to the most electrifying players in NFL history, Michael Vick is on the short list. One of the best dual-threat quarterbacks to ever play the game, Vick's career would be derailed in its prime when he pled guilty to dogfighting and spent 18 months in prison. Since that point, Vick has worked hard to reestablish his reputation and make amends for the crimes he committed. Now retired from the NFL, Vick recently visited Liberty University to speak in convocation and address his personal journey and the faith that he leaned on during his darkest days. He would then sit down for a conversation with Game On.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you stopping by. We appreciate the time.
Yep.
Athletes, a lot of times when they retire from the sport, you hear about guys struggling to find a purpose. Some struggle to find happiness. Their identity was so tied into the sport itself.
Yeah.
For you, retirement, what's it been like?
It's been great, man. It's been an ongoing process ever since the day I announced my retirement. It was more obligations than I ever had when I was even playing football.
Yeah.
And I think it keeps me busy. It keeps me, in tune with what's going on in sports and what's going on in my surroundings. And, it's great to have young kids, too. They keep you, culture centered and driven. And I got to give a lot of credit to them. They really helped me in terms of growing as a man, as an individual, and just enjoying life, man. So a lot of the obligations and speaking engagements I take on because I want my kids to see me, trying to go out and be the best role model that I can be after football.
#1 overall draft pick in 2001. How much do you feel like you've grown, just personally, spiritually, from that day you walked across the stage being drafted to this point in your life?
Yeah, well, I think, getting drafted and walking across the stage at the age of 21, I was just a kid. And fast forward to my life now, I'm 37 years old, and I've been through a lot of ups and downs in the last 16 years, but, all for the better of myself, for my mental state and capacity, and just learn a lot of lifelong lessons that I can teach to my kids, and I can teach the kids that I speak to at my football camps, and et cetera, et cetera. So I embrace the fact that I've developed a platform, and not by myself, but with the help of a lot of people who really believed in me and encouraged me along the way.
You spoke to kids here at Liberty today. A lot of them may be too young to remember you breaking into the league, setting the NFL on fire. For them, unfortunately, they know you from your darkest days, from maybe your biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Did you have to kind of come to terms with that that's always going to be part of your legacy? And what do you do to try to make that a positive thing now?
Well, I think it's a positive. I don't always want to be identified with football, and football was such a easy game for me. It was, what I did from the time that, I felt like I could be a dominant football player at the age of 7. So that came naturally. What you don't have a chance to always explain is the things that you don't do so well, the things that you don't understand, and sometimes you screw up. And you can be identified with, various things, and I embrace that. It's all about, making amends and helping people to understand that, listen, sometimes you're going to fall, but you got to get back up, and you got to keep believing, and you can never give up on yourself, because when you do, you ruin it for yourself and potentially other people who believe in you, and, that's your mom and your dad and your brothers and sisters and people who, have high expectations for you. So you get up on that saddle, man, and you embrace it and you keep riding.
This new stage of life, post-playing career, has it given you time to think about legacy and what you want that to be for you for, what 20, 30 years from now? What do you want that legacy to be?
I mean, 20, 30 years from now, I want to be able to look back and say, post-NFL, I became a great man. I became a great person. I was still learning a lot along the way, but at least I had it in my heart to try to do the right thing and to be driven and not be deterred by what people may think or the critics. I feel like it's been a great support cast put around me to develop a platform that I can take advantage of in order to help people, not only help myself. So, no, that's the reason I do broadcasting, to help people understand football and not try to be so sophisticated with it or so complex. I think just small things, the subtle things in life that you don't take for granted, but you put a lot of thought and energy to, I think it goes a long way.
Matt, I think a lot of people in life, in the secular world, think Christians have to live a perfect life and do nothing wrong. But it's pretty neat to see Michael Vick. Obviously, he said, yeah, I did something horrible, I did something wrong, but he's gotten back on the right path, which is something I really respect.
Yeah, he said, in speaking in convocation, that when he got drafted, got all that money, he put his faith kind of on the back burner, and that's when he fell in to the stuff, the dogfighting and things that he shouldn't have been. Seems like he's back on the right track now, and certainly we wish him nothing but the best in the future, and thank him for his time.
Well, coming up, she won a basketball national championship, but it was the lessons she learned from her NFL father that have made the biggest impact on Kelly Deo.
That story plus a brand new, fresh out of the oven, warm, hot, and fuego when Game On returns.
I used to watch the medical shows on TV when I was younger, and I wanted to be like the doctors and the nurses. But I think nursing was a really good fit for me because of the holistic approach that they take. There was a point in my nursing career that I was ready to go back. I actually remember 2 patients in particular telling me that they could see me doing more. The FNP-DNP program is obtaining a family nurse practitioner degree. The DNP is the Doctor of Nursing Practice. My husband and I love to go on mission trips, and we've been on a few medical mission trips. And I believe that the FNP-DNP degree will really open up the door on the mission field a lot more. I think there was a few things that stood out on this campus. Number one, how kind people were to each other and how much the faculty truly cared for us as students, wanting us to succeed in pursuing higher education.
I'm Marty Mischins. I'm a master firefighter with the Lynchburg Fire Department. I started out with residential coursework at Liberty back in 2000, and I've also been a member of the Coast Guard Reserve since then. I completed a substantial amount of my general education requirements, and then 9/11 happened, and after spending time on active duty, I never went back to school. Liberty Online gave me the opportunity to easily get a bachelor's degree that was equivalent to my field of work. That has actually opened up opportunities for promotional processes in the public safety realm and also in the military in the future. Liberty Online has been really flexible with my schedule, having a family and having a full-time career with the Lynchburg Fire Department. I'm currently enrolled in the Master of Arts in Executive Leadership program. Liberty Online worked great with me to be able to transition from completing a bachelor's and turning right back around and getting into a master's program, which is something that I never thought that I would even consider.
welcome back to Game On. One of the things that makes this job at Liberty University so enjoyable is the fact that we get to work with so many incredible people. One of those being LFSN basketball broadcaster Kelly Deo. While many people around here know her simply for her TV work, there's so much more to her story, one that includes an NFL father and a legacy that stretches far beyond athletics.
You know, it was always the case that we would be in a public setting and my dad would be flocked around. There were always people around him asking him questions, wanting to know about his career. And it felt so strange because at home, that was not who he was.
At home, Jeff Seaman was a loving husband and father. But to the rest of the world, he was one of the best middle linebackers the Minnesota Vikings have ever drafted.
I was the 10th guy picked in the first round that year, and so, you know, I had high expectations, I guess, you know, as a middle linebacker, and if we just won one Super Bowl, I think it would have changed a lot of the feeling about the Vikings, but still it was a very supportive fan base, and we were grateful for that.
He would live up to those expectations, being a 4-time Pro Bowl selection and part of 3 Super Bowl appearances. But those professional achievements didn't paint the full picture.
You would walk into my house and you would not see anything Viking related. I mean, nothing. And he was in, 3 Super Bowls, 4 Pro Bowls, and there was plenty of accolades that he had, growing up with his football career. But that was just something he did. And I think that was what we learned as kids.
Kelly was the youngest of the 4 children. And as time went on, she developed a love of her own for athletics. In fact, at the time she was in high school, she was ranked among Minnesota's all-time best basketball players, making her college choice, well, enviable.
It was Iowa, Iowa State, Wisconsin, Duke, Notre Dame. And so I remember going out to Notre Dame and almost immediately I knew that was where I was going to go to school.
Kelly would become a 4-year starter for the Irish, helping them climb the national ranks before culminating in a national championship in 2001.
So Ruth is on the line shooting free throws, barely makes both of these free throws.
Got the second one. It's a 2-point game. Camaro. Goes to Douglas at the buzzer. Didn't get it.
And now she had reached her mountaintop too, just like her proud father.
So to see her perform at that level was very impressive, and I'm so proud of her.
As Kelly looks back at that time, surprisingly, it wasn't the mountaintop wins that carried her into the next chapter of her life. It was a challenge from a fellow athlete.
There was a football player at Notre Dame, Jerry Wisney, and he was sharing his testimony at this group. He said, and if there's anybody straddling the fence, you've got 1 foot in the world and 1 foot, trying to follow God, and you want to get off that fence and you just want to follow God, raise your hand. And I remember just this complete brokenness in me.
And it was in that moment that Kelly realized why her dad lived his life with such humility.
I started understanding, do I want to live this way, and just be in the world, or do I want to live for Jesus? I'm done with this part of my life, and I'm going to live for the Lord. I got to start doing what my dad had done all along, which was start sharing my story, and I really fell in love with that. So it was an easy decision, I think, to make my life about this greater calling.
That calling led her to a place that values both sports and faith. Coach Carrie Green proved to be a great friend and mentor of Kelly's as they brought the Lady Flames to their first ever Sweet 16 appearance. When the time came for her to leave, she wouldn't go far.
Rep McGibbon here alongside a national champion in 2001 with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Kelly Deo.
She now serves as a color analyst for the Liberty Flames Sports Network, the Big South, and the ACC. She's still at the top of her game, but I'm sure if you ask her, she'll tell you her greatest work is being the mother of her 4 kids. But as she pours into her children, she can't help but hear the echo of a lifetime of wisdom from an NFL star who just happens to be Grandpa.
I knew who I was then, but who am I now? And what is the basis for my self-image, and how do I view and see myself when I can no longer play the sport? I'm no longer in the limelight, so to speak. How do I deal with me? If that humbling experience can work in such a way to bring us to the Lord, and that it's not us, but it's Him. He's the one that gives us our dignity, our self-respect, giving us purpose and meaning in life that we really can't get any other way.
You know, I get the opportunity to work with Kelly now on a pretty consistent basis. And one thing I can say about her is she still does a fantastic job of just ministering to the young ladies' lives on the Liberty basketball team, and just various young ladies as well, because she's always asking, hey, how are you doing? I know she holds like a little Bible study as well. So just a fantastic job by her, staying engaged and also having her eyes upward on heaven for everybody out there to see.
My favorite part about stories like this, as I've said before, we post them to social media, the feedback we get, and so many people commenting saying, your family basically was Christ to me. We looked to you as an example. So many people commenting as that legacy that we talk about in the story continues to live on now through Kelly and her family. Great job by our Bobby Bowling producing that piece. Well, listen, from a heartwarming story to a red-hot segment we call Warm Hot. Oh, there's the fly. You feel that? Yeah, there you go. Warmed up right now. Rhett named the top 3 athletes in Liberty Athletics over the past week. Let's begin with Warm. Who you got?
Yeah, let's begin with Warm. And here, I want to throw a little analogy out here. You know, in baseball, when you have a guy that just, he's such a solid positional player, he doesn't really do anything spectacular, but he's just, you know he's good, though.
Yeah, consistent.
Well, that's Cole Burak for the men's hockey team, the goaltender. This guy is so boring to watch, but I absolutely love it because he's always in position.
A good boring.
Yeah, he is. He's one of those goaltenders, except for this play here, one of his few mistakes. But anyways, that was exciting. But nonetheless, he does a great job of just being positionally sound in between the pipes, and everything hits his chest. He never is making that miraculous save or that highlight reel save because he's just so good at getting his feet set, being big and square to the shooter, and being a guy that was a goaltender himself. I love watching him play every weekend.
Coaches are okay with boring players if you're always doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So I'm sure they're fine with that. All right, from warm now to hot.
Guy not so boring, Scotty James, this big man this season. Wow, what a year he has had. Over his past couple of games, he's averaging 24.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and just north of 1 block a game. Drained a couple of threes as well. He's stretching out there a little bit. And he's really starting to turn into the poster child of Liberty basketball. But you have to think he's going to be the face of this group next year. And 7 double-doubles on the season. So a guy coming in as first year here with the program, he has really fit in seamlessly. And it's going to be fun to watch him grow. And you have to think by the time he's a senior, this guy's just going to be dominant.
Absolutely. He's shown the glimpses of doing that already within the conference season. So, yeah, he's been fantastic. In Fuego now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where you go here. If Scotty's only hot,
that's right.
Who you got for in Fuego?
Well, everybody's probably thinking it's going to be somebody on women's basketball or basketball. No, we're going to golf.
Golf. Hit
Irving
the link.
Chang.
All right.
Yeah, welcome to the show, my friend. This guy finished his event tied atop the leaderboard with a 6 under par for the tournament. He's the 28th player in program history as a medalist. So good for him. He's from Malaysia. And this young guy here, great job by him. He brought the team with him. They finished 3rd overall. He was tied for first, like I said. So the golf team here looking pretty solid. Looks like it's going to be a good season for these guys, and great start.
Yeah, beat a number of top 30 programs in that event. So yeah, they're off to a great start. Jeff Thomas and company. Congrats to them on the great start. Well, listen, we're not done just yet. More still to come here at Game On. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Each morning begins around 7. I make breakfast for the kids and get them ready for the day. Mornings can be hectic as I'm running my business from home, and when the kids nap, it's the perfect time to work on my courses. By studying at Liberty University without set login times, I am able to craft my own schedule around what works best for my life. This flexibility allows me to work on my assignments during the day so I can spend time with my husband after he gets home from work. As a parent, I have to balance the week from my daughter's dance class to teaching ballet to church activities. Studying online has allowed me to invest in my education while being a strong example to my children. My name is Kimberly. I'm a mom, a business owner, and a Liberty University student.
You might have heard some things about Liberty University, like how we're just a little Christian school. in the middle of nowhere. And there's nothing to do here. I mean, come on. You know us. Boring.
Boring?
Yeah. They say we don't work as hard, think as hard, try as hard.
I object.
The truth is, well, we might surprise you.
Welcome to Liberty University.
We are so glad that you are here.
We hope that while on campus,
you will experience God's goodness
and recognize His abundant blessings and faithfulness.
From our thriving academics with over 200 programs
and our close-knit community to our state-of-the-art facilities and residence halls.
You will see that the Lord is integrated into each part of this university.
Fun and excitement also await you here as you attend football games,
basketball games, concerts,
campus community,
convocation 3 times each week,
and much more, while developing relationships that will last a lifetime.
Each of us has a different path during our time here.
But we have at least one thing in common.
Not leaving this university the same as when we came.
I love this school.
I love this school.
I love this school, and I hope you will too.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Did you know 95% of Liberty students receive some form of financial support? And our total costs place us among the bottom quarter of 4-year private colleges for affordability. Well, now you know.
Well, listen, we're about out of time for this week. Thank you so much for watching. As always, we want to remind you about our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, @GameOnLU. That's what you need to search. That's where you can find us, and we'd love to hear from you.
And go to our website as well, GameOnLU.com. You know, the nice thing about the website is that you hit the search button, it brings it right up. It's not like social media where you have to keep just scrolling back for decades.
Absolutely.
It's all right there.
Yeah, good job. All right, he's Rhett. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching. We'll see you right back here next week.